Hi, everyone. Welcome back to No Playbook Needed. I'm your host, Sierra. And on today's episode, we have someone that I just met really recently. She was an athlete and stepped into entrepreneurship and then also recently moved to a new state to start a completely new, beautiful life. Her journey is a perfect example of what it is like to evolve and figure things out. So, everyone, welcome Cassidy to No Playbook Needed.
Hello.
Hey, girl, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I know you just freshly got off a show, so thank you so much
I
for
did.
joining us.
Of
For everyone's gonna get sick of me, but I don't really care. Cass is another one of our whatnot friends here. I think everybody has figured out that I have a shopping problem at this point, and that's why I'm on
Me
whatnot so
too.
much. So I met Cass. When did you move to Florida?
We moved in August.
Okay, so I met you like literally right before you moved. So it was probably like end of summer last year I met
Yep.
you and started shopping with you. I think my first thing from you was actually essentials and
Okay.
then
Yeah, I remember
yeah,
that.
then saw that you did Skims. I think I bought my first Skims thing from you and I was like, it got me hooked.
hmm
So that being said, why don't you give a little intro to yourself if you want?
Yeah. Well, my name's Cassidy. I just moved to Florida a few months ago. Well, now it's been like half a year now. I can't say a few months anymore. But I graduated college in 24, a couple years ago. I have a little miniature wiener dog. He's sitting here with me. This is Truffle.
We love
But
Truffle Man.
we love Jeppa. But yeah, I just started my entrepreneurship journey on Whatnot almost 1 year ago. I started last April. Yeah, but I've been reselling clothes for about 3 years now. I started in college, and while also I was in college, I was an alpine ski racer, and yeah, it's kind of it.
Yeah. What got you into alpine skiing?
So, actually was a basketball player my kind of like my whole elementary, middle school life. And then my younger sister, Kalia, who's now a sophomore in college, she was a ski racer. And I loved skiing, but I never really was into the racing part because I had basketball. And then I was super, super short and super small my whole like middle school. I was like a whole head shorter than all my friends. So basketball was not really working out too hot in that category because of the whole height thing. So I was like, you know what, let's try alpine skiing, why not? And so I started my freshman year of high school and
Okay.
loved it and worked really hard because I loved it so much and ended up going and racing in college. Yeah,
That's so cool. Oh my God. So you're originally from Minnesota?
I'm from
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Okay. I was like, I
Yep,
knew it was one of the ends. So
yep,
obviously
Minnesota.
that the snow and skiing. Being from Minnesota obviously makes a whole lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you skied I'm gonna assume your whole like 4 years or however many years in college.
Yes. Well, no, I didn't get to ski my first year because of COVID. So
COVID. Okay. Yep.
I was the COVID
Yep.
graduate, the COVID freshman. Yeah,
Yep.
I think I got the shortest end of the stick with that personally,
Yeah.
but
Well,
others
no,
might say differently.
100%.
But yeah, I was
Yep.
2020 grad from high school and
Okay.
then yeah,
Okay,
started
so
2020 of college.
you're right around my brother's age because I'm the oldest of like all of my siblings. And he was a 2020 grad. Just like being a sibling and watching you guys go through that was so just like it was sad, it was crazy, it was insane. Definitely
hmm
I relate, but I don't I relate from like a sibling standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did skiing and, sports in general teach you about discipline?
So I would say I was a big track and cross country runner in high school as well. I always thought that I would run track in college, because I was really good at it. I was state champion and hold records at my school and everything. So really thought that I like every college I toured with track coaches and with full intention to run track. And then my senior year, I didn't have my senior track season because of COVID, and so that kind of like threw a wrench in things. I was like, you know what? I think maybe I just want to ski. But yes, what that taught me with discipline, I guess, more so with track discipline wise, is just like so much hard work put into running because it's so hard mentally, physically, and that definitely taught me a lot. But then with skiing, having joined like so much later than all of like my peers, that made it a lot harder. I had to work a lot harder to get to the level that they were at. So that definitely taught me a lot as well.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment where skiing felt more like a pressure rather than a passion.
Yes, and more so in track, I would say.
Okay.
I've had a lot of pressure on me, especially so kind of to get deeper, I guess, early in this, but I did go through like some eating disorder type things in high school, and so that definitely affected my running a lot. Being with girls that a lot of like the cross country teams all younger than me. So I'm here looking at all these girls and I'm like, they're all so much smaller than me, even
Hmm.
though I'm still small, but I'm a lot older, you know? Definitely a lot of pressure with track with that because it affected my running abilities, and but it was just such like a battle between like myself. It's like, do I want to look skinnier or do I want to be better at running, because I needed to nourish myself a lot more with that. And so that definitely was like, I just felt a ton of pressure on me. And that's another reason why I skied in college, because I didn't feel as much pressure. It was, I loved competing. I loved being with the people. So honestly, like skiing never really felt that way to me, and I'm very lucky to be able to say that,
Yeah.
especially like have done it all through college as well. I mean, it did get a little bit much. I was the president of our team my senior year, so that kind of was a lot of pressure on me to like be the best on my team because I was, put on that pedestal. It was more so always just the fun factor. So
No,
yeah.
that's awesome. And thank you for being vulnerable because that's one thing that I want to start showing more of on here is I'm a huge mental health advocate. Have struggled with depression and anxiety longer than I really thought. You're a little bit younger than me. So growing up in like the late 90s and the early 2000s, mental health was not, you didn't talk about
Mm-mm.
it. It basically didn't exist. I love that like your generation and my generation as a millennial is bringing that to the forefront and actually making it a priority. Thank you so much for sharing that and being vulnerable because that's the whole point. I want to give a safe space and I want people to not feel alone. I know that there's a lot of people that listen and I know that there's people that I know personally that have struggled with this very similar thing. So, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, what was it like for you when you did step away from skiing?
So I was very lucky because I had a pretty smooth transition out of skiing, because Jens is a year younger than me, my boyfriend, and he is also a skier. That's how we met, was on the ski team in school. So he had 1 year left after I graduated. So I was still like surrounded by it. I just wasn't competing. And then also, since I was still up in my college town in Duluth, Minnesota with him, his final year of school, put more into my business that we'll talk about, but I also was a high school ski coach for like a high school right next to us. So it like was a very smooth transition out of skiing because I like stopped competing, but I was still surrounded by it and got to like coach younger kids and, teach them. Smooth transition because I got to coach some younger kids, high school kids, and that was like very eye-opening and just like a very new experience for me, like being able to help kids and like be their support and be someone that they can talk to and like feel comfortable with was really cool.
Yeah, especially because you're also still pretty young too. So that's
Yeah,
I'm sure
exactly.
they liked that level of comfort.
For sure. Yeah, it was funny. We would take like team pictures and it was like, who's the coach? Because I'm the
Yeah,
same height as all of them and I look
yeah.
the same. It
The
was
same
funny.
size as all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, was there ever a moment, like especially when you left college, kind of college in general or skiing, where you were like, "Oh my God, what is next for me?"
Well, Jens and I talked for a while about like wanting to move somewhere else and, try something different. And we were going to transition to that like right after he had graduated, but we decided to take the summer months and we actually lived at my parents' place for the summer after he graduated and just looked for homes and thought about the transition. And that was kind of, I guess, where that moment was.
Yeah. So, speaking of entrepreneur, how the heck did you get into selling and kind of what brought you to whatnot, all of that stuff?
So I get asked this question a lot
I
by other
figured.
people too, so this is perfect. But I started my sophomore year of college. I was like, I have a shopping problem. I have too many clothes. So I'm gonna like start an Instagram account and clear out my closet and sell some stuff on there because I followed a ton of Instagram accounts, and that's kind of where the bane of my shopping problem was shopping on
Yeah.
Instagram, shopping on Instagram lives. And so I was like, you know what? I think I could do that. Like, why could I not do that? So
Yeah.
I started selling on there and started with just the clothes in my closet. watch other people live, find a good deal, be like, oh, I think I could maybe sell that for a couple dollars more,
Flip it. Yeah.
flip it. And then I got into thrifting a little bit too. So I'd go like to the Goodwill bins.
Yep.
The closest bins to us was like 2 hours away. So Jens and I would make like a day trip and go to the bins and fill up our
Yeah.
car with stuff. And yeah, it was really fun. And it never was anything that I felt that it was something I could sustain for a long time. But like for the time being, it was a good little side income while I was in school because I didn't have a job or
Yeah.
anything. And then last April, I saw like a lot of girls transitioning from Instagram selling to Whatnot. And I feel like I was one of like the last people of like our like Instagram community, if you will, that made that transition. And I like really didn't want to. I was like, I love it on Instagram. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy, the difference and like the amount of product I could get through. Like a really good week of me selling on Instagram, I could maybe sell like 100 things like in a week, like on a really,
Yeah.
really good week. And now, I mean, you join my shows, I've gotten through 1,000 items in one show before. So like
Yeah, I know.
it's
Insane.
yeah, it's insane. And like how smooth it is printing the labels and all doing all that stuff. Like on Instagram, I had to make each of my labels. Like I had to have people send me their addresses. I would make them all on pirate ship
Oh
and like
my
purchase the label,
God.
send them the total for the label. And yeah,
Yeah.
so it was a lot of work. But like at the time, it didn't seem like it. Like I was like, this is all
Yeah.
that there is. And then
Yes.
now being on Whatnot, I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. It took me that long, but yeah, and I slowly started to get into like wholesale and that sort of thing too. And that's all I do now is just
Yeah.
buy in bulk. And I remember like my first big Skims purchase was like 100 items. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like all my money at the time. And
Yeah.
now
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
there's times where I send like almost $100,000 wires to people
Yeah.
for wholesale deals. The growth and everything is crazy. It kind of like I have to sit back and think about it sometimes because I'm just like, wow, like how did all that happen so fast? But
Yeah. That's
yeah,
one thing I
that's kind of
love
it.
hearing you talk about. Like even in your Whatnot shows, you have talked about that, and you just like you always are so thankful and grateful, and you
Hmm.
always kind of joke about like, oh, where you started and where you come from, and like for being that young and being that like self-aware, I is so awesome. So
Well, thank
I
you.
know I'm just a teeny tiny piece of your growth, but even in the last, whatever 7, 8 months that I've been shopping with you, the growth has been incredible. Like the fact that you're about to hit 50K followers
I
is a
know. It's
major
crazy.
milestone. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to your transition to Florida. So what kind of inspired your move to Florida?
So we're in the Tampa area. My parents have a vacation home in Punta Gorda, and I've been going there for probably 15 years now, like going on vacations there throughout high school and throughout college. There was actually a point during my freshman year in college where I stayed at their vacation home for like over a month because of COVID, and all my classes were
Okay.
online. That was before I had met Jen, so I was just by myself. And yeah, so that kind of started it. I was like, you know what? I could really see myself moving here and being somewhere warmer. Although I love skiing, but I can always go on ski trips. But yeah, I just wanted something new. We wanted something different. And we also wanted to buy a home, which real estate here is a lot more reasonable than a lot of other places, especially for what you get for it. So
Has there been anything in this new environment that maybe has like taught you something different about maybe yourself or selling or anything?
it has definitely been super different that I'm home by myself, like the majority of the time, because Jen's works an office job and is gone from when I wake up to about 6 o'clock, depending on the day.
Mhm.
So that's definitely been a big thing. And like having to completely make my own schedule. And like if I don't want to work, I don't have to, which sounds nice, but also at the same time, it's like sometimes I just won't because
Yeah.
I don't want to, but like I need to. So that's been something different, like juggling, just making my own schedule and like having to still like have a life too, which
Yeah.
is really hard, especially with owning a business. It's like I swear I'm just working all the time, and that's something I really, really need to work on. And
We all do. It's okay. You're not alone.
yeah, but I've gotten a few girls to help me package now, which has been super nice. They're actually in their packaging right now. So
Oh, I love
that's
that.
been really nice to give me like just a few extra hours during my day to you know, do things for me or get stuff done around the house, clean the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
See
just
your
yeah,
boyfriend.
yeah, exactly. So
No, I
yeah,
totally get that. Yeah, I work remote. Personally, have been very lucky and created very early on because I started working remote because of COVID. So
okay,
I was able to really kind of set that boundary. And I've always been able to make a home office for myself. And like I work whatever 7:30 to 4:30, and those are my working hours. And I set a really good boundary on that. It sounds like you've been able to find a really good balance, and that's awesome.
yes, definitely. We're getting better every day. So
Good. We love that. We love growth. So, speaking of growth, that was actually unplanned. Speaking of growth, um, how do you think your definition of success has changed over the last couple of years?
well, I mean, I feel like from like the last point in time that I can really remember up until 2 years ago, I've been studying and been in school.
Yeah.
So like that was like everything in my life was like having success at school, and I was always a good student and like held myself to that standard. So like that was the big my success was in school and in
Yeah, your
sports.
degree.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And so now not having to like work out for a sport or not having to study for a class, I feel like has really changed my definition of success because it's
I feel
just
like
I'm working for
freedom is
different
your
goals, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like kind of freedom is your
exactly.
definition of success. How do you think you would handle uncertainty now compared to maybe a couple years ago, especially being a COVID grad?
Oh gosh. I'm gonna have to get into like God right now, I feel like, for that. It wasn't until the end of my high school career that I really found myself getting closer to God and more so like trusting Him and His plan for me rather than having like an image of what I think should happen or what's going to happen. So, how I handle uncertainty now is like if there's something bothering me in my life, or I just know that it's in God's hands and that at the end of the day, I don't choose anything for myself and that god has everything planned for me, so it's helped me like what's the
I feel
word,
like it puts you at ease. It
yes,
puts
puts
you
me
at
at
ease.
ease,
Yeah.
and yes, I'm a lot more relaxed and not
Yeah.
as anxious, and yeah, so
No, that's a perfect answer. This is a question that I ask every single guest that comes on, and that is, when did you realize that there was no playbook for your life?
I mean, there's so many things that have made me realize that I don't know what's going to happen and I don't know the playbook for my life and that it's all in God's hands. And I would say like COVID had a big thing to do with that. Transitioning from college and high school into life has really changed that outlook for me as well. So,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
for sure. Okay, what kind of person are you becoming in your eyes?
I would like to say that I am becoming ooh, that's a tough question. I would say that I'm becoming a very strong and independent person, but also having to lean on those that I care about is also a thing that I love about myself is that I do have so much trust in like not only my loved ones, but also just in like humanity itself. I just look around and I see different people and I'm like
You
good for
see the
you.
beauty in
I see the beauty
humanity.
in people.
I
Exactly.
love
And so
that. There's not
I
enough
I
of
would say
that, so please keep
yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, but I would say that's a big thing that I like about myself that I
Yeah.
strive for every single day, and just to be someone that people can talk to and lean on to in times of need is something that I really strive for as well, and I feel like my friends know that and my family knows that and they find comfort in talking with me. So I like that about myself too.
Well, that was the last question for this episode. And I just want to extend my love and my heart to you. Thank you so much for wanting to come on. I know we kind of threw this together pretty quick, but cannot thank you enough for joining me today.
We'll see you on the next show.
Yes, I was going to say, I will see you on your next live, and I will see everybody else in our next episode. Bye, you guys.